I'm doing part 20, my Promaster van conversion, and this one is going to be the kitchen countertops and cabinets, how I built them, give you some tips and tricks that I've learned, and maybe give you guys some ideas. So real simple. This is my cabinets right there for my kitchen. Those are the upper cabinets. I did a video on those you can look back on, and let me tell you how I did these. On this one I want to show you, this is obviously my battery compartment, and what I did with these is, even though you see screws right there, they're just a facade for looks. They're magnets on the back of these, and you just countersink the magnets. You can glue them to a piece of metal if you want, or there's a metal tab, and they just snap right into place, which makes it quick and easy to access any of your battery compartments. As you can see, shut off, batteries, inverter. So they just snaps right in there. I've already been on a trip. It holds really well, really tight, and that's just one little trick that I've learned. Let's talk about the countertop real quick. Countertop is really simple. It's 3/4 inch plywood with sanded plywood, 3/4 sanded top. It's birch, I believe, and as you see, I just did a light coat of stain on there, and I like a lighter top because when you work on things you can see them. If it's darker, it's a little hard to see if you're picking up small screws or anything like that, or trying to work on something. As far as the varnish on the countertop goes, it's 4 coats of just your regular varnish you pick up at Home Depot. I use an oil base instead of a water base. Oil base dries a little quicker and harder, and in my opinion it's just a little better finish than the water base. As far as the sink goes, obviously it's stainless steel. This particular sink, obviously you can get undermount or top mount. If you go undermount, obviously if you're using 3/4 inch plywood, you got to cut it out, and then you're going to have those plies showing in the plywood. So if you do undermount, you're going to have to figure out some way to coat that, or a lot of people can use glue strips, things to that effect, to cover it. But in my experience, I find they always, after time, they're going to leak, or the where you try to cap it and seal those edges, you're always going to get water coming in there, and you take a chance of the plywood separating because of the moisture. Even though, as you notice, this is a top mounted sink, if you run your finger along, it's flush. How I did that is, if you want to do that, it is kind of time consuming. It's about a 1/16 of an inch lip on this, and I just took a router and routered out around the edge, drew my line, and dropped the sink in. It does take a lot of time to do that because the cutout obviously is back on the lip, and then they have the holders that clasp the sink and to the bottom of the plywood. So the shape of the sink isn't necessarily as it appears on top. But if you want to do this, it does give you a flush, and then you can run your varnish right up to the edge and clean the varnish off the stainless steel later with the steel wool. Just go with the grain of the sink so you don't leave any scratches. But then again, it's a van, right? So you're gonna put a lot of wear on it. So that's how I did that. As you see, it's pretty flush mount all the way around. The countertop, to finish that off, as you see, this is actually just steel. It's 1/4 inch flat, 1.5 inch wide, 1/4 inch thick, and I countersunk the screws going all the way around. On the edges, I didn't bend them because it's extremely difficult to get that sharp of a bend going around the edge of this, and you could, but I just welded the edges and then ground them down smooth. But those are my edges, and I've done this on a couple of tables, vans, and that's pretty much how I did it. You don't have to do it that way. You could do wood trimming or anything like that, but that's just give you an idea of what I did. As far as the gray water, sometimes I'll use a gray water tank with a valve on the bottom so you can dump it. But in my experience, I find that a 5-gallon tank will last me probably 2 to 3 weeks, because you're extremely conservative when you use water. Obviously, if you're washing dishes, you only put an inch or two on the bottom of the sink to do your dishes. So you're very conservative with your water. So 5-gallon tank, I decided just to go with a gray water mounted underneath. If you look here, you can see it. There's a tank right there, just has a little bungee on it. Pop that bungee off, dump it, put it back in there. If you do get any smells or anything like that, you can just put some bleach in there, and it'll take care of any type of odors that are coming out of there. And sometimes you'll get them. Obviously, you know, you get your fire extinguisher there, and plenty of room underneath here to be able to put any kind of stuff you want, extra stuff, cleaners and things like that. Let's talk about the cabinets real quick. As I told you, my doors are sliding doors, very minimal with hardware. A lot of people use that fancy hardware, but it's a van. It moves around, gets misaligned, breaks, or whatever. So as you can see how my cabinets, my drawers and the cabinets, they're very minimal as far as the hardware to lock them in. As you see, they're all soft close type of cabinets. Your standard Home Depot soft close drawers, and you just stick your finger in there and pull it right out. No hardware needed, and you just close it, and they're soft close. Obviously, when you do these types of drawers, the only issue is you've got to be dead on as far as square when you mount these, or it's just a nightmare trying to get them lined up where you have to shim out the sliders. I don't need to worry about them popping open when I'm driving, and I have had that happen in other rigs, because I just shut my door like that and the drawers aren't going to fall out. So it's as easy as that. You don't have latches on each drawer to worry about to keep them closed when you're driving down the road. So that's pretty much the kitchen countertop. No hardware, very simple, very easy, very inexpensive. Of course, the sink is kind of spendy, but that's it for the kitchen countertop. Hope you enjoyed that. If you got any questions, feel free to email me. I hope this helped you out, gave you some ideas, and follow me, give me thumbs up, please, and stay healthy. And I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.